Okay, everything starts with the mind. So if we want to make a real definitive change in the physical reality, we have to start with the mind. That's the first thing that has to change, the way we view ourselves. Because there is a real big difference between being someone who is trying to quit something or trying to start doing something and someone who doesn't do this anymore and does this. So you could say, oh, I'm trying not to drink, or I'm trying not to smoke, I'm trying to eat better. But in saying you are trying, in your mind, it makes it okay to fail. It makes it okay for that to not last, for you to go back to doing those things. Because naturally, when you try at something, a lot of the time you are going to fail and it's not going to be successful. Whereas if you view it as, I don't do this anymore, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't eat this junk food every day, I do train, I do eat clean, I do drink lots of water, I am disciplined. If you view it in this I don't and I do, or I'm not and I am, when you reshape this with your identity of who you are this type of person and you aren't that type of person anymore. When you do this, it doesn't accept failure. It doesn't allow failure because it's your whole identity. There's no, oh, I'm trying to do this, but it might not work. With the identity shift and I don't do this and I do this, that's certainty. There's no 50-50, it might work, it might fail, I might carry on with this, I might fall back. There's none of that. It's certainty. Because you are saying, I do this, and I don't do this anymore. So the things you are saying, I don't do this, they become less of an option in your life because you simply view it as, I don't do that anymore. That's not the type of person I am. I do not do this. So you think of doing it less, it just doesn't really enter your mind. And if it does, you take it a lot less serious because you just think, well, I know why I'm not going to do that. The thought and the reasoning is so strong in my mind against that of why I'm not going to do that. It doesn't even seem appealing to me for me to even do that. And that's the real change that has to be made. For a real definitive change that is strong and stable, this is what has to happen. You have to change the identity, the way you see yourself. You have to simply understand you are not this person anymore. You do not do these things anymore. And these are the things that you do now. You do train. You do eat clean. You are disciplined. You are purposeful. You are strong. Because that's who you are now. And it seems very simple. And of course it can be more complicated than that. But if you truly think of it in your mind, if you view it as, I am this person, this is what I do, and you do those things, and whenever you're faced with temptation, you just think, no, I don't want that, that's not what I want, because I am this person, this is what I want. And this identity of I don't do this and I do this, being rooted in such strong reasoning, then the change will come. The change you desire will come. If you want to get in better shape, you want to get on a better path, you want to start eating better, you want to discover your untapped potential that you have not been disciplined enough yet to really see, then you can get there, you can do it. But this is what has to happen. We have to change the identity, the way we see ourselves. We have to simply view ourselves as the person who doesn't do this anymore, and we do this. This is the type of person we are. And this identity comes from the things we value, the attributes and the characteristics we admire in others, and also our own beliefs, what we think is right. So we must understand what we value and what we truly want. Do we want these temptations more than we want this? Of course no. Because once you've fulfilled this little temptation and you've got full up off the junk food, you don't want it anymore. So it's very short term, it's very temporary. So if we want the real definitive change, we must identify what we value, what we admire in others, what we believe is right. And when we identify these things, the identity that we will carve out for ourselves in the things we should be doing and the things we shouldn't be doing, it becomes so clear. Because if I think of the values or the characteristics or the things I admire in others, when I see others who are training hard and they're disciplined and they're faithful and they have a really positive outlook, they train really hard and then they praise their faith, they praise God, they praise Jesus, and they carry on suffering. And they can ignore the short-term temptations in favour of something better in the long term. These are the things that I see that I am inspired by and I admire when I see in others. So it becomes clear to me what I should be doing. When something else inspires you and you admire it, it's because you think that's good and you think you should also go after that and you should also replicate that in your human experience. And that's the case with me when I see people who are faithful, disciplined, with a positive outlook, humble, strong. These are the things when I see these people that inspire me and I admire and I want to try and replicate for myself. So, like I said, then when I know that and when I identify these things, it becomes clear to me what I should be doing. And then you have to view yourself as that person who does those things. It's even like doing something like this with these videos. It's something that's weird, it's not really normal, it's different, it's sort of unusual. So you have to get yourself in the mindset of, I do this, I am the type of person who does this. I am not the type of person who is sitting there afraid of opinions and afraid of judgment and afraid of words. I am the type of person who lives with no limitations. If I want to do something, I will do it. If I want to create this content, I will do it. I believe this is right. I believe that this is good and positive. So, when you want to make a real definitive change, you have to get yourself in the mind frame of that person and you have to adopt the identity of that person. This is what I do. I don't do this anymore. This is the type of mindset we've got to get ourselves in. We have to carve a strong identity for ourselves of what we do and what we don't do, because these things are the person we are. I don't do this because that's who I am. I do this because that's who I am. So, identify what you value. Identify what you admire in others. Identify your beliefs and what you believe is right. And when you identify all of these things, the identity you will carve for yourself in your mind becomes so clear, and the things you should be doing become so clear. And then it's just doing the things. And it's holding that strong reasoning. It's holding that strong reasoning in your mind of why you must do these things. So, like always, train hard, eat clean, focus on the positive path. A negative mind will never lead to a positive life. And if you're still watching to this point, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.